And at the beginning, this is very straightforward. In fact, when this form was issued on a Friday night by the SBA, I was at home and I checked, said, wow, they've issued this form, and I looked at it and I said, okay, well, I'm going to the office like I do every Saturday, every day of the year. I had some other things I planned on doing, but I should be able to knock this out because that's what us CPAs do. You give me a form, I'm going to develop an Excel spreadsheet. So in my mind, I said, okay, I'll have a tab where I've got these payroll costs and I'll have stuff feeding over to it. Oh, and it looks like I've got a Schedule A. So let me go down a little bit and find this Schedule A that's down here. Oh, here's the Schedule A, and there are 10 lines on this Schedule A, and these are all the things that I knew that would be on here, and these clawbacks. So that this shouldn't be too hard. So that'll be another tab. Oh, but within Schedule A, I've got this Table 1, and then down here I've got this Table 2. So let me look at those. Okay, that actually looks like an Excel spreadsheet. So, okay, that's not going to be that hard. That'll be a tab, and that'll be a tab, and it'll probably have 500 spots there because you can have up to 500 employees. Okay, that's not going to be that hard. Oh, and then there's this Safe Harbor Reduction 2. There's 5 steps there. So, okay, I'm going to have 5 or 6 tabs. I'll have a couple of input tabs. Hey, I'll probably knock this out by noon. I'll make my 1 o'clock tea time. Folks, somewhere around 10 or 10:30, I realized I'm not playing golf today. And I actually worked all day that Saturday, all day that Sunday. Then on Monday, reviewed it with a staff member of my firm. We ran some test data through it. So it was probably a good 30 to 35 hours that were invested in developing a spreadsheet. And I mentioned it earlier where banks were saying, hey, you can't do this, and we did it. So I'm going to pull in, and you received this version, this 1.17 that we have now where I have my test data in. And look at how many tabs. I thought I was going to have 4 or 5 tabs. I have tabs for covered compensation, employee data. Look at all these look back periods. Look at all the data that we have to put in to calculate all of these items. And here's our health insurance, retirement, payroll taxes, interest payments, lease payments. And these red tabs, folks, down here, now these are the forms. So this is the loan forgiveness app if you on the spreadsheets that you received. And by the way, any spreadsheet that's a version 1 point something, that is the spreadsheet you need to use if you're calculating the 8-week period. If you're calculating the 24-week period, be sure you use the worksheets that have version 2.0 or greater, because all the formulas are now for an input data is for the 24-week period. And another very interesting thing, if you look at the loan forgiveness app that's out there, everything is weekly. Okay, even though the SBA acknowledges that some people might pay something other than weekly, because you can check a weekly, a bi-weekly, twice a month, monthly, or other. All the instructions assume everyone's paid week. It's saying multiply by 8 or multiply by 24 or divide by this, especially when you get into the pay rate calculations. So in every other calculator I've seen out there is just on the weekly basis. But I've taken my formulas and created a bi-weekly, which was basically half as many pay periods need to be put in, and instead of multiplying by 4 or 8, you multiply by 4. That wasn't that hard. The semi-monthly and the monthly became a little bit more difficult because when you're looking at full-time equivalents, you didn't have that static either 40 or 80 hours per pay period. It was all dependent on whether you had 10, 11, or 12 paydays in a semi-monthly period, or 20, 21, 22, or potentially I think 23 is the most you can have in a monthly payroll period. So those cause some issues, but you're going to get 8 Excel spreadsheets. You're going to get a version 1 point something for weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, monthly, and a version 2 point something for weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, and monthly. That one's to be used for the 24-week period. So we've been able to bring all this in, and hopefully it'll make it a little bit easier. So as we go through the form, I'm going to be going back and forth between the form and the actual worksheets or the spreadsheet, so you can see the input data and why we have that various input data.